Thank you, and good morning, friends, and Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. It is great to be joining you here today. And before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here on coastal territory, including Kwantlen, Katsis, Samiamu, and Tawasan people. And with me joining us here today also is Gary Begg, as was mentioned earlier, my colleague from Guildford MLA. And I just want to say thank you to Guru Nanak Institute of Global Studies for organizing this today. The platform, as you have read, allows us to explore various aspects of Sikhi, its relevancy today in dealing with some very, very important issues that we face in this world. And I know that the Institute also have proactively help our province through their research and education. And I want to say thank you to each and every member who has contributed in that research and education. I think the question is the relevancy of Sikhi today in our lives, running our governments, our institutions. I think we need to put this thing in perspective. The Sikhs' role in the progress and development of British Columbia. To do that, I think we need to put that in perspective. Where we were, what guided us to be here today. As I was standing outside, trying to come in here, this beautiful building that we are, performing here and doing our business, I pinched myself. Is this actually true? Because it wasn't the case always in British Columbia like this. When Sikhs started to come to Canada in British Columbia, Vancouver, in early 1900, they were not welcomed here. There were moves to send them back. They faced discrimination at their workplaces, in their neighborhoods. That you can blame on arrogancy and ignorance of people around us. But what was going on in government houses? The legislations were being passed in Victoria, in Ottawa, not only to not give us the rights who were here, but attempts, legislations to stop us from coming. Many in this room know the continuous journey legislation. Kamagata-Maru, we all talk about this. 1907 in Victoria legislature, a legislation was being debated and it was passed unanimously, adding us on exclusion list of voters in British Columbia, which already included our First Nations, Japanese, Chinese, and then they added Hindus onto that list of exclusion. They could not even bring themselves up to call us Indian because we were all of India. They call us Hindu in the legislation. And the premier of the day said, this is white man's country, and we want to keep it white. And he said, those values will go with me to my grave. A few years later, Minister Laver stood up in that house when legislation was introduced to give us the right to vote. A Minister Laver stood up. He said, there's no one in British Columbia as unreliable, deceitful, and dishonest as Hindus. Therefore, that justify us continue to deny them equal right of citizenship. Why I'm saying all of this is that those who were here at that time, facing that kind of reception from governments, from their neighbors, in 2nd Avenue Gurdwara, by Pag Singh Huni, Naginder Singh Huni, Balwant Singh Huni, never gave up on Canada. They could have easily gave up on Canada, said, okay, this is not the country that we want to live, raise our children. But they, because of the Sikhi, because of the values and the teachings of the gurus, they made a determination that we will fight because our religion teaches us, stand up to the oppressor and bullies. So they did that. And they vowed, based on, again, Sikhi's values, that we want to make Canada a better place. Sarvat da Pala, better place, more equal Canada, Canada that is more just. You know, in 1990s, Mosa 2017, myself, both occupied same chair as Minister of Labours. Now we're making laws for other people in British Columbia. And we have a speaker in the House now who decides who can speak for how long and when. That's a Punjabi Sikh. The people that those, British Columbian at that time, the government said they should not be allowed to come. They have no contribution to make to us. There are 5 ministers and speakers in the House right now in British Columbia, thanks to those Sikhi values that they practiced. And I think today, the challenge to all of us is, what is our role? Guided by Sikhi, guided by our teachings, hard work, sharing, and Sarvat da Pala. So I think the challenge for us is, what is our role so that 50 years later, our children, their children will say that the people here in 2023 or thereabout made their life, their Canada, even better Canada than what we have today. That's our challenge. And I think we as a government, and I can personally say that, we're guided by those values. That's why I think I was asked by Mr. Sandhu to say a few words what our achievements are. I won't go too deeply because the list is a long one. Because we are who we are, respect and dignity for all. That's what Sikhi teach us. Treat everyone equal. So what are some of the highlights? When we formed government, our minimum wage was one of the lowest in the country. Through gradual 4 years predictable increases guided by the Fair Wages Commission's recommendations, today our minimum wage is highest of all provinces. We brought in 5 paid days for those victims of domestic violence and sexual violence. Because this is some of the most difficult time that those victims are going through, to manage their life, find school for their children, find different place to live. And the least we can do is they don't worry about losing wages when they're doing that. We brought in 5 paid days for workers who become sick, so that they're not forced to make a decision to go to work sick, make everyone else sick, or stay home and lose wages. We are protecting our children. When we formed government, we were cited by United Nations that our child labor laws were not up to the standard of international labor laws. Because here in BC, children as young as 12 could do any work, no matter how dangerous that work was. And government ignored it at that time. We now raised the general working age in British Columbia to 16 and defined what the light work is for 14 and 15 years. And what dangerous work is between 16 and 19, like logging and using the chainsaws. Because working is a very rewarding, the first job, as we all know, but it cannot be at the cost of your health and safety. And I think the more work need to be done here, but I think together, if we are guided by Sikhi, why I'm saying this, it was relevant back in 1900. Those values are still relevant here today. If we follow it, work hard, share, and Sarvat da Pala, if we keep that in mind, and I think this country, this province, this world will be a better place. for all of us, our children and their children. So thank you for the invitation, and hope you will enjoy the rest of your conference. Thank you.